Hey, this is Doc Erik. Welcome to my YouTube channel, the neighborhood where you get one mindset tip and one body set tip, typically rolled into one videos. So this is a follow-up video to the video that I posted last week, which is smoothies. And so I'm back here again to talk about my favorite smoothies because that was a question I got asked. Doc, what do you like? So here we go. Let's jump in. I've been a smoothie guy in the past. When I'm rushed, it's my absolute go-to. Or if I know that I have a busy day at work and I'm going to be in between patients, I don't always have the time to sit down and enjoy a meal, and I know that many of you guys can relate as well. I have used them in the past as a meal substitute, and that has worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody. And today I wanted to share the concept behind a great smoothie. That's going to be calorically conscious, delicious, as well as being nutrient dense, and it's also not going to burn a hole in your pocket. So this is kind of a hack, a DIY, I feel like. So in terms of density, when I have the option, I like to make my smoothie a little bit on the thicker side so that I can enjoy it with a spoon. We have like these long stem dessert spoons, and for me it's perfect because it gets all the way to the bottom of that glass or that plastic jar without getting all over your fingers, which can be a problem for some people. I'm typically not a big straw guy because you need like one of those big giant hold straws in order to get the smoothie out of the bottom, and sometimes the small straws just don't do the job. So in terms of what I use as a liquid, typically I'll use water. If I'm kind of making it more of a meal replacement, I'll typically use something that's a little bit more dense like a almond milk or coconut milk. I typically go for the unsweetened just because it's extra calories that you can get from other sources like fruit or something like that. So if you're somebody who likes an almond milk or a coconut milk, typically go unsweetened is the way to start. Typically with fruit, if I'm going to put fruit into a smoothie, it's typically going to be if I have a after workout smoothie, if I'm not able to have a full meal. Fruit obviously is good. It has a lot of antioxidants as well as nutrients in it, a lot of vitamins and minerals, but fruit tends to have a higher amount of sugar. So if I've just worked out, it's the perfect option for me. If not, and I'm having a smoothie a little bit later in the day, I typically will pull back on a smoothie in terms of the type of fruit that I use. Typically, I'll use something like a strawberry or a blueberry. They typically have a lower glycemic index compared to some of the other fruits on the market, like say a banana. Bananas are usually sky high. Some people actually refer to those as sugar sticks. I'll typically use either a quarter cup or half a cup. If I've worked out, I'll typically bump that up to a full cup of either the blueberry or the strawberry. And they're also a calorie low for the volume that you get. So that's something else to consider as well. So for vegetables, I put vegetables in my smoothie. I typically can put any vegetable in there as long as it's going to blend. Obviously, you're not going to chuck in broccoli or cauliflower just because it just doesn't whip the same way. I have no problem throwing in spinach or arugula, but I'm a pretty big veggie guy, so sometimes I'll make a smoothie and have some vegetables on the side. In terms of servings, usually I try to put as many vegetables as I can into the actual smoothie container. Obviously, you have to leave room for some of the other ingredients, but it's nice. It's easy to throw in, and if you're somebody who doesn't like the taste of vegetables, it's a nice way to disguise it, especially if you're throwing some fruit. So if you're somebody who's on the fence about putting vegetables in their smoothie, I highly encourage you to start with a vegetable that you like. So if you're somebody who likes cucumbers, go ahead and throw some cucumbers in there. Peeled or unpeeled is fine. If you're somebody who says, hey, I don't really like asparagus, it's kind of got a peppery taste for me, then maybe you don't put as much in there. But always kind of look at where you're getting your vitamins and minerals from. And if you're somebody who's not eating a lot of vegetables, it might be the option to throw it into a smoothie. So in terms of protein, everybody has a different take on this. Some people like to use a fast digesting protein after workout, which would be any of your whey isolates. Some people like something that's a little bit more longer standing, which is going to kind of keep them fuller longer. So that would be something like a casein, which is a slower digesting protein. Some people like to use a plant-based protein, which is also fine as well. Things with protein powders to keep in mind is sometimes they need a little bit of extra help when you are making a smoothie. So sometimes, depending on the type of protein powder that I might be using, I might put the liquid in first, then I put the protein powder in, then I'll actually put it in the blender just so that it agitates, and then I'll put in the rest of my filler into my shake, because if I try to put the powder at the top when you screw on the lid, sometimes it's tough for the water to get to that protein. So you get like this big chalky ball in the middle, and then you're kind of stirring it around with a spoon, or sometimes the vegetables are going to get caught up in it as well, and then you've got like this semi-edible blob on the inside of your shake, and it's kind of unpleasant. So you're going to end up having to go back to the blender anyway. So sometimes I'll put liquid, then I'll put protein, then I'll kind of build the shake up like that. Currently, what I'm using is a casein protein by Optimum Nutrition. It keeps me fuller longer, and they have multiple different flavors. Pretty much the flavors don't bother me so much, so it's either going to be vanilla or chocolate. It's pretty much whatever's on the shelf at the time if I need to pick up a canister. In terms of a healthy fats are great because it's a perfect way to stay satiated. Sometimes people, they'll build a shake and they'll build it on the low side, so the calories might be between maybe 200 and 300, and for some people that's enough, some people it's not enough. So sometimes they'll pull back on the vegetables and they'll increase the fat content, and that'll keep them fuller longer, and you're still within that 200 to 400 calorie range. So it is typically a meal replacement. So if you're somebody who doesn't mind a slight caloric bump, in their smoothie, you can do something as simple as a teaspoon or a tablespoon, depending upon, if you're looking for body composition or satiety. You can use a teaspoon or a tablespoon of any nut butter. You can use an almond butter, you can use a peanut butter, you can use walnut butter is a new one on the market. It's a little bit on the pricier side. I think there's pumpkin seed butter at this point. I mean, any nut, cashew butter, has been pretty much transformed. Some of them are sometimes they're blended. You can also use a powdered nut butter as well. I know that there's one called P2B, and that is a powdered peanut butter. So they've taken away some of the fat, so it's essentially almost a protein powder. But if you're looking to increase just full fat, you can use any of those nut butters. Sometimes people, they like to use a half or a whole avocado. Again, it depends on how big your shake is, and I'll typically do maybe a tablespoon of a fat in my shake, or I'll use a half or whole avocado depending upon what I'm going to be doing later that day. And you can also use something as simple as coconut oil. Not everybody likes the taste of coconut oil, so I leave that up to you. If you like it, go ahead and throw it in. So to kind of wrap and to conclude, typically my shake kind of looks like this. I'll put in one protein source. I'll have some sort of a liquid, which will either be water or some sort of a almond milk, unsweetened. I usually put in 2 or 3 servings of vegetables, and these are small handfuls, by the way. I'll put in 1 to 1.5 servings of fruit, so that could be upwards of a cup of, say, blueberries or strawberries. And I usually put into a half to a full serving of a fat, so that could be a quarter of an avocado, it could be half an avocado, it could be up to a tablespoon or maybe a bit of a heaping tablespoon of my favorite nut butter, depending upon what we have in the house. So there you have it. Those are my answers. If you like content like this, or if you have any questions that you want to ask me personally about any of the videos that I've shot in the past, or any of my opinions on certain things, obviously go ahead and direct message me down below. But also tell me your favorite smoothie. Let me know what kind of smoothies you guys like, what kind of protein powders you're into. Do you guys kind of dose it up with different vitamins, some powdered vitamins perhaps? Do you have shakes at certain times of the day? All that fun stuff. So other than that, we'll catch you next time on the next video, and otherwise, stay healthy.